In almost every police department, there's a place where cold homicide cases gather dust. Each box contains unfinished business, evidence, interviews, in its very own murder book. These cases aren't dead, but sleeping. Each one waiting for new leads, and a cop to dig out the truth, and finally bring a killer to justice. Gainesville, Florida is a young college co-ed's dream. It's warm, it's sunny, no worries, no parents. But in the late 1980s, kids here had to grow up fast when they were targeted for murder.
2 bodies found in one apartment, another body found in an apartment a mile and a half away.
It all began in 1989 with the mysterious disappearance of a college co-ed.
Hillary's only child is missing.
More than 20 years later, police still don't know the whole truth of what happened the day she vanished forever. Fast forward. It's 2013, and retired detective Kevin Allen has spent the last 5 years being Mr. Mom. Now his 18-year-old daughter has gone off to school, and he decides playing house isn't enough. His heart longs to be downtown again. Once a cop, always a cop.
I'd worked homicide for several years, and I'd been out of the biz for a while. I was excited to get back.
His first day back, he's handed a case that will be the toughest he's ever worked.
In the murder book was all the police reports and forensic reports and all the evidence reports, and mostly witness interviews, and there were thousands. It was the biggest, unsolved, highest profile case for the agency.
20-year-old Tiffany Sessions is a junior at the University of Florida. She's a real go-getter, an economics major with dreams of making it big on Wall Street.
Forgot your key?
Yeah.
Recently, she traded dorm life for a quiet off-campus apartment.
She was getting a little more out of the, the party atmosphere versus time to settle down and get some good grades so she could get a good job. So I was happy about it. It was a good environment.
Tiffany is a creature of habit. She goes to class, comes home, and heads back out for a little exercise. This Thursday is no exception.
I will be back in like an hour.
Have fun.
Bye.
Bye.
Tiffany told her roommate that she was going to go for her usual power walk that she took every day. She usually left around 5 o'clock and got home around 6 o'clock.
But 6 o'clock comes and goes, and Tiffany isn't back. By 8, her roommate is seriously worried. When the clock hits 9, she calls the cops.
She went for a run earlier this afternoon and she hasn't come back.
She also puts in a call to Tiffany's parents.
Hello?
Hi, Mrs. Sessions? She said she was gonna go for a power walk and then she was gonna come back in an hour and help me study.
When I got that call, it was like my whole world evaporated. I'm thinking, this is not my Tiffy. She would not come home unless something was keeping her from coming home.
Tiffany has always been conscientious. She grows up a cherished only child. Her parents divorce when she's a baby. From then on, she lives most of the time with her mom in Massachusetts.
How do you put a ray of sunshine in a description? I mean, every day with her was absolutely wonderful.
Tiffany also spends time with her father during school vacations.
She was a great kid. She was very outgoing. She was a lot of fun. Just kind of an all-American girl.
And now this all-American girl has vanished without a trace. The next morning at first light, the Alachua County Sheriff's Office is already looking for her. Detective Kenny Mack is one of the first on the case.
I went out and searched the area myself, particularly around her apartment complex.
Mac tries to follow in Tiffany's footsteps. He tracks her usual route, starts on a typical neighborhood street, then veers off into a park that pretty quickly turns dead quiet. Lonely. No more cars. No more houses.
It'd be very easy for a person to be abducted from that route. It was very wooded, not very well traveled.
And it's on that wooded path that Mac knows in his gut something terrible has happened to Tiffany. Tiffany's parents are on their way. Her father flies from Miami. Her mother drives from Tampa.
I was looking at every single car that was going in the other direction. I kept thinking, oh, is Tiffy in that car? Is Tiffy in that car? Is Tiffy over there?
I don't think she's working right now.
Okay.
Yeah, she's working.
Have we heard anything?
Okay.
By late morning, Tiffany's parents are at her apartment.
Okay. Do you have possibly a phone book, a day planner, something that would give us a better lead?
She may have one in her top drawer or nightstand.
Okay, great.
I'll go look.
Okay.
Is this it? Yes.
They started calling everybody in that address book. Did you hear from Tiffany? Do you know anything about where she might be? That kind of thing.
Okay, when was the last time you've seen her? Okay, you haven't seen her since Tuesday. Okay.
When you can establish that the person is actually a missing person and not just wandered off, it's treated as a homicide.
The next step, trying to find anyone who saw Tiffany. Someone on the road, someone walking through those same woods, or someone who might have spotted her at the route's midpoint, which is only blocks from the interstate.
Where Tiffany was abducted from is a major thoroughfare, and somebody had to see something.
But this is 1989. Finding that somebody is a whole different ballgame. There's no internet, no Amber Alerts, no Facebook, no Twitter. Even cell phones are rare. The best they can do is flag down motorists and hand out flyers. But even an army of volunteers can only reach so many people.
My job was to get Tiffany's picture out there, and the best way to do that was on TV. I need your help. I need the word to get out on Tiffany.
Potential eyewitnesses come forward, but none of the leads pan out. At the end of the first 24 hours, they're no closer to finding Tiffany.
It started to get dark and it started to get cold. And I was handing flyers out at 9 o'clock at night. And it was a full moon, and I can remember looking up at that full moon and saying, okay, Tiff, it's time to come home.
Day 2, the cops widen their search. But for a small county sheriff's office, it's a daunting task.
It was a pretty big search area. It was several miles wide and long. We were looking for anything out of the ordinary that stands out. Articles of clothing, jewelry. You're looking for something that's recently placed there that may have bearing on the case.
That's definitely a start, Governor. That'd be great.
To cover more ground, Pat Sessions throws in everything he's got. As president of one of Florida's biggest land development companies, Pat is used to putting together massive projects. He's also used to getting what he wants, and what he wants is his daughter back.
He ran this like a business. It was like immediately, not, do you think that remotely someday maybe you guys can maybe give us a helicopter? No, with Pat, it's we're coming with helicopters. We're coming with the search team. The governor's gonna send the dogs.
By the time he's done, Pat Sessions has organized one of the largest searches in Florida history.
We had about 800 people there. We drove truckloads of equipment up there. We had tents, we had media rooms, we had everything.
For days, they combed the woods for miles in every direction.
I'm gonna take out this section. They're gonna come in like right here.
They find absolutely nothing.
Generally, in these types of cases, people aren't abducted and kept for long periods of time. The risk is too high for the abductor to keep somebody alive that long.
I was scared, and we just flooded Florida and beyond as far as we could with her picture and the story.
Pat Sessions takes to the airwaves again, this time with the help of celebrities.
I'm John Walsh. I know the pain of having a missing child firsthand. My son Adam was kidnapped and murdered in 1981.
I'm Dan Marino of the Miami Dolphins, a friend of Tiffany Sessions, and we really need your help.
5 months pass, and there's still no sign of Tiffany. To try and drum up new leads, Pat Sessions offers a huge reward, $250,000 for any information called into a tip line.
I really wanted to get a hit, and I wanted to see if somebody turned somebody in. For $250, a lot of people will turn on their best friend.
You know this isn't a good idea, Pat, but you're gonna have every nutcase coming out of the woodwork.
I got a lot of flack about it, particularly from the FBI, who was heavily involved in the case at the time. They said to me, we don't want you to do it because everybody's gonna think you're rich. They're gonna come after you. I'm like, that's never gonna happen. I'm surrounded by police every day of my life. I'm in the paper every other day. Nobody's gonna bother me. Well, I was wrong.
Hello? Okay. Pat, I think this could be a lead.
Patrick Sessions.
I know where your daughter is.
The callers knew information about Tiffany that was peculiar to Tiffany.
She lives at the Casablanca apartment off 35th.
They knew where she lived, they knew other things. That one got us fired up.
Is she alive?
Yes, she's alive. So get $250,000 in cash and be ready to make the drop. We'll call you at 5 o'clock with the location. If you tell anyone about this call, she's dead.
That's great, they're playing right into our hands.
But the callers don't know the FBI is already on it. They happen to be there when the call comes in. Immediately, plans are made to trace the kidnapper's 5 p.m. call. So they're caught off guard when it comes 3 hours early.
Okay, wait. Pat, it's him. He's called back.
They called at 2 o'clock and said, get in your car now. There was one FBI agent in my office, and he said, you can't go. And I'm like, I gotta go. If I tell them I can't go, they're gonna know why.
Pat Sessions goes rogue.
I had a cell phone, and I figured that what I'd do is call the FBI. The phone rang.
Hello.
And the guy says, if you cut this call, we're gonna kill her. So I couldn't call anybody.
On this phone. Do not hang up.
Okay, I won't hang up.
Pat rushes to the designated drop-off point 30 miles out of town.
I was supposed to leave the money next to a restaurant. I was just about to do that, and 3 police cars pull into the restaurant.
What the hell are the cops doing here?
I don't know, maybe they're on break or eating lunch or... I can't control who comes here.
You should tip them off. We'll kill your daughter if you screw with us. What are you reaching for?
Nothing. Some papers flew off the seat.
All right, forget it. We're gonna change the meeting spot. Head to the abandoned gas station on Interstate 95. We'll meet you there.
Okay.
We will kill your daughter.
But before Pat gets to the gas station, the FBI catches up with the whole kidnapping for money party.
FBI. Away from the base. Where's the girl?
The FBI screaming at these guys. Get on the ground, the whole thing. They had them.
Tiffany? Where is she?
Mrs. Sessions! Tiffany!
The kidnappers are 2 local crooks looking to cash in. One of them has a brother who went to school with Tiffany, and he got information that made the calls seem legit.
He turned out to be just a monumental con man. He had a rap sheet 30 issues long.
6 months since she disappeared, and there's still no Tiffany.
Cases like this will haunt a detective assigned to it because We want closure for the family. We want closure for ourselves. We want the closure for the public. It's always on the detective's mind, what could I do? What didn't I do? You're always second guessing yourself, thinking you can do a little bit more, and that may have solved it.
Tiffany's case goes cold. "18 months after her vanishing, it's a new school year.
Everybody's buzzing, football team's doing good, getting ready for the season. The energy in the community was extremely high and positive.
The shock of Tiffany's disappearance has slowly faded. The town seems almost back to its sunny self.
Forecast, plenty of sunshine through today with seasonal temperatures. We should reach our normal high of about...
Go for Sadie.
Sadie Darnell is the public information officer for the Gainesville Police Department.
I'm at home and I got the call that there was a double murder.
Copy that. I'm on my way.
So I responded to the scene.
Where am I going?
It's the third bedroom on the right.
We got 2 female victims, it looks like. There's multiple lacerations.
The women are 17-year-old Christina Powell and 18-year-old Sonia Larson, both co-eds from the University of Florida. Both were stabbed to death, but it appears Christina was raped first.
They were viciously attacked and horribly mutilated, and just a horrible scene.
The girl's door jamb has been pried off. 24 hours later, another forced entry and another young woman raped and murdered. Krista Hoyt has been stabbed to death and decapitated. The next day, the unthinkable. 2 more young victims. Athletic 200-pound Manny Tabota looked like he struggled, but lost the fight to the attacker and was completely eviscerated. Then his roommate, co-ed Tracy Pauls, was raped and stabbed to death. In just one bloody weekend, 5 young people have been slaughtered.
Shockwaves, I mean shockwaves went through the community. The fear was palpable. You drove around, every outside security light and night light and porch light was on. It was a ghost town. If you were out, you had somebody with you. It was just a scary, scary time.
The media dubs the killer the Gainesville Ripper. And suddenly this popular college town is infamous throughout the nation.
Law enforcement poured into the area. We had state, we had federal, we had local. We were placed on 12-hour shifts, so it was a pretty much panic mode at the time.
The chief of police and the sheriff called together a task force, and the chief and the sheriff went around the room and said, this is your role, this is your role, this is your role, and we took over the Gainesville Police Department.
We looked at anybody with a criminal record. If you had one of sexual battery or sexual deviancy or aggravated assault or disturbance where violence was involved, we looked at you.
The list is long, but each and every offender they talk to
Yeah, I was out with friends.
has an alibi that sticks.
I was at home with my wife.
Mind if I check with your wife on this?
You can call her and verify.
And just as quickly as the hurricane of death started, it stops. For months, the task force looks for the killer, but it comes up empty. They decide to re-examine every crime that happened in the area around the time of the murders.
Hey, Mike. Yo. Come have a look at this.
They come up with a bank robbery that happened on August 27th, 1990, the 3rd day of the murders. The police never caught the guy, but they did recover the money. Bank tellers had placed an ink bomb in the robber's bag. It detonated, and the robber, with police hot on his trail, ended up ditching the money at his campsite in the nearby woods. Sheriffs confiscated everything left behind, including a tent, a bedroll, a ski mask, a screwdriver, and a cassette player with a tape inside. And wouldn't you know it, it's some kind of diary.
I don't know what people think anymore. All I know is I'm just one man alone in this world. And no matter what anybody thinks about this man, Danny Harold Rowland, I want people to know that this is not the road that I really wanted. But it is the road that is before me now. And I will walk it like a man.
The rambling recording plays like a suicide note. Rowling leaves some advice for his brother.
Kevin, you better get a deadgum deer for me with that bow I got you now. Yeah, just go a couple of times and see if you don't get lucky with it. Aim for the lungs, straight through the rib cage. Either there or the heart, but best thing to do is hit the lungs. It's the best shot.
There are kind words for his mom.
Mom, you're such a precious soul. There ain't a woman on the face of this earth that can cook like you can, sugar. You hear me? You got to be the best cook in the whole wide world. And believe you me, I miss it. But I want you to purpose it in your mind and in your heart and in your soul. Don't blame yourself for anything that's happened. None of it's your fault.
And a parting shot to his dad.
This isn't easy. Nothing's ever been easy for me. Well, I always wanted to make you proud of me, Dad, but somehow or another I always fell short.
The last part of the tape seems to be made at Rowling's campsite in the woods.
Well, I'm in a different place than the last time I recorded. Now I got the sky for a blanket, the earth for a bed, and some rumpled up clothes for a pillow, but it's okay.
And it ends on a chilling note.
Well, I'm gonna sign off for a little bit. I got something I gotta do. So I don't want you to worry about me, okay? I'll be all right. I'll give it my best shot.
When the police search the name Danny Rowling in their database, they learn he's a career criminal. In fact, he's in jail now for the armed robbery of a supermarket in a nearby county. He was arrested 2 weeks after the Ripper terrorized the town. That would explain why the killing stopped. Police have the screwdriver from Rowling's campsite analyzed. It's a perfect match to the pry marks left at all three crime scenes. And when they compare Rowling's DNA to semen found on the female victims, they get a positive match. Police have finally found the Gainesville Ripper. When confronted, Rowling admits he was trying to kill his way to superstardom, just like his idol, Ted Bundy. Now police want to know if his vicious rampage began a year earlier, when Tiffany disappeared.
Tiffany's missing. She's a college student. These people that were killed were students. So we tried to make a connection, but we determined he was in the Shreveport area at the time due to the fact that he had been in contact with his probation parole officer the day Tiffany went missing.
Rowling had nothing to do with Tiffany's case. When he's sentenced to death, the 5 co-ed murder books are officially closed. But Tiffany's is still wide open.
May God have mercy on his soul.
After 3 weeks, cold case detective Kevin Allen is still carefully combing through the 24-year-old murder book of Tiffany Sessions. He looks at it with a cool cop's eye, but with the sinking heart of a parent.
I had an 18-year-old daughter at the time who was in college, and my daughter's very vivacious, very outgoing, and she actually looked similar to Tiffany Sessions, so I took it very personally.
And what Allen sees next makes the hairs stand up on the back of his neck. By 1992, a new class of hopeful undergrads is in Gainesville. Many of them don't even know that Tiffany Sessions disappeared from here in 1989, or that Danny Rolling was sentenced to death after butchering 5 students just last year. One of these newcomers is 21-year-old Beth Foster. She moved from New Jersey to enjoy the Florida weather while she went to school.
She attended Santa Fe Community College here, and she was a bright, beautiful young lady.
Are you gonna be back soon?
Yeah, probably about an hour or so. Just gonna go get some fresh air.
All right. See you later.
But once again, day turns to night and another happy co-ed, out for some fresh air, doesn't come home. And once again, a roommate must make a terrible call to her good friend's mother.
Hi. Sorry to bother you, Mrs. Foster. I'm getting kind of worried. Have you heard from Beth at all tonight? She hasn't called, and she didn't say she'd be out this late.
It's not like Beth to simply disappear. Beth's parents call the police and get on the next plane to Gainesville. By morning, still no sign of Beth. For Detective Mack, who worked the Tiffany Sessions case, it's déjà vu.
When Beth Foster went missing, immediately I thought of Tiffany Sessions, and we have a monster loose in this town abducting college students. It wasn't good for the town. It wasn't good for my community that I lived in.
Once again, the Alachua County Sheriff organizes search teams to comb the woods around the park.
It was intense, very much like Tiffany's search.
Your location again?
It was expansive. A lot of people were involved.
For 10 days, they scour the area. On day 11, in an isolated part of the woods, near where Tiffany Sessions disappeared, the search ends.
Beth's body was discovered, partially decomposed in a shallow grave by a park ranger out checking for people dumping trash on the state preserve.
The autopsy reveals that Beth Foster had been sexually assaulted and then beaten to death. The medical examiner retrieves semen from her body. That gives Kenny Mack the killer's DNA.
The DNA material taken from Beth Foster was tested, blood typed, run against known data files at that time.
There are no hits. But this is '92. DNA testing is brand new, and it'll be years before there's a national database of criminals to match the sample to.
It was very frustrating putting the work forth again and still not being able to come up with what happened. That's what we're there for, to find out what happened and who did it. And we're still at that point, we can't determine that.
For the second time, Detective Mack is forced to shelve a murder book. They sit side by side for 5 more years. Then, out of nowhere, a call comes in.
Detective Mack?
We were contacted by authorities in Wisconsin stating they had an individual in custody who had sexually assaulted and beat a University of Wisconsin student, and he was under arrest for that assault and sexual battery.
Oh, okay.
And while he was in custody, he made mention to a cellmate that he had done this to a girl in Florida.
Definitely. What's this guy's name?
The inmate is 28-year-old George Taylor, a contractor originally from Florida.
We placed the suspect in and out of Gainesville during the period of time that Beth Foster went missing.
Cops also locate a neighbor of Beth's who reported seeing a strange delivery man near her apartment the day she disappeared.
Thanks for coming in. Got some pictures for you to have a look at here. Hopefully one of these guys is going to look familiar.
We obtained a photograph from Wisconsin and placed it in the lineup.
That's him.
You sure?
She positively identified the suspect as being the person who she deemed suspicious at the time. When we made the connection, it was almost like a rush. I wished it had been the same with Tiffany Sessions, that we could have tied him to that. Still, Tiffany Sessions is out here missing, with no evidence. At least we've got somebody to look at in this one. And now we had something concrete to work with.
They get a sample from Taylor and send it to the lab to see if it matches the killer's semen found on Beth.
He was subsequently charged by a grand jury, and it was a good feeling. You know, we got somebody we're looking at. We're not looking at a broad spectrum of people. We got somebody specific to look at in the case.
But when they try to run them for comparison, they realize the previous DNA testing burned up most of the original killer's sample. They simply don't have enough left to match to Taylor or anyone else.
And the technology just wasn't there. Very frustrating.
Thinking George Taylor is getting away with murder, the Fosters agree to have Beth's body exhumed, hoping to recover more of the killer's DNA. But after 5 years underground, the DNA is so degraded it's unusable. The case against Taylor is thrown out, and any chance of tying him to Beth Foster and Tiffany Sessions goes with it. Years pass. In 2001, Kenny Mack retires.
I dedicated most of my life to solving crime, and here are two major cases I left on the table. And it's a disappointment to me. You're always second-guessing yourself, thinking, what didn't I do that I could have done?
For years, Gainesville's tragic cases of the two lost co-eds never moves forward, but is never quite forgotten. Then Sadie Darnell, who's been in law enforcement since Tiffany Sessions disappeared, gets elected sheriff. In 2012, she starts a cold case unit.
Having a new set of eyes or a new look at a case can be valuable. And then as time progresses, the technology changes, especially in the area of DNA. So the evidence needs to be reevaluated all the time. And plus we need and have a responsibility to family members to let them know that we haven't forgotten about their loved one.
Can get more information, I'll get it back to you.
Get on it,
I will.
please.
Sheriff Darnell told me that she was going to start a cold case squad, which would focus on a number of cases, but also particularly on Tiffany's.
And for the first time since Tiffany's disappearance, technology is ready for flushing out the killer.
We had a person in our agency who had a real interest in DNA. So she became our designated DNA specialist. So she went through the murder books to see whether any of the advances in DNA technology could possibly be relevant in the case.
In 1996, a small amount of DNA wasn't enough to test for a match. But 16 years later, science has changed a lot. Now, a microscopic amount is all that's needed to create an accurate profile. So the semen sample in Beth Foster's murder book is run through the new National Criminal Database.
And sure enough, it came back with a DNA match.
The cops are thinking, here we go. We finally have George Taylor, the convicted rapist from Wisconsin who was the #1 suspect in Beth's murder in the 90s. He's not a match. No, George Taylor didn't murder Beth Foster.
I'm gonna go ahead and go through these files here.
Neither did the Gainesville Ripper, who had been executed for the co-ed murders.
We're gonna make this a priority.
Her killer's DNA matches a guy named Paul Rolls. Rolls is an ex-con Gainesville police know all too well. During the manhunt for the Gainesville Ripper, Rolls was one of the suspects brought in for questioning.
What were you doing last Sunday night?
I was at home with my wife.
Mind if I check with your wife on this?
You can call her and verify.
In fact, he sat in a police interview room in 1990, truthfully denying being the Gainesville Ripper.
Am I good to go then?
All right.
Only to kill Beth Foster 2 years later. With the DNA match, they've got enough to close Beth's murder book. But they're pretty sure Rolls is behind Tiffany's disappearance, too. He's easy to find. He's already doing time for kidnapping and raping a 15-year-old girl.
What do you want to know, man?
2 detectives go to talk to him.
They knew and had enough to charge him on the Beth Foster, but because of the possibility he might be connected to Tiffany Sessions, they wanted to go see what he was willing to say.
Tiffany, what do you know? I know you remember. She was in the park, the pretty girl.
I ain't talking.
But Rolls is 64 and in bad health.
We have your DNA on Beth. Now, if you just admit to Tiffany's murder, we can just get out of here.
What do you know about Tiffany? Beth is a done deal.
I don't know who Tiffany is. I don't know about a murder. I don't know anything. I know I'm dying here, and you're not helping.
He yelled at him, and I'm in pain, and leave me alone, and I didn't have anything to do with it, and da-da-da-da.
So get your warrant. Now get out.
I received a report back that, they went, it wasn't very productive, he wasn't very forthcoming, so I was disappointed.
So Sheriff Sadie Darnell hires Detective Allen.
We got a full-time investigator, which made a big difference. It's hard to imagine that after 25 years, we know more today than we ever did. We didn't know a thing for 24 years. A thing. We didn't know anything.
His first job in the cold case unit is to dig up everything he can on Rolls.
My research into Paul Rolls revealed his criminal history started in 1972.
Yeah, I'm ready. Here we go.
Here we go.
First place.
First of many.
Oh, wow.
Rolls is 24 years old and a newlywed. His young bride is training to be a flight attendant, and he's working in a restaurant when they move into their first apartment.
Oh my gosh, what do you think?
I think you're beautiful.
Oh.
On the outside, Rolls is the perfect husband. But on the inside, he's a sick, twisted mess. In 1994, Paul told his life story to a court-appointed psychiatrist. He was raised in Pennsylvania. His mother was in and out of mental institutions. His father drank and hit. When he was 8, Rolls strangled a neighborhood cat. By the time he was 12, he was fantasizing about raping women. In his teens, he graduated to stealing underwear from his friends' mothers. He got a rush from putting them on, then chopping them up and burning them.
Don't do it.
After he gets married, Rolls tries to keep his dark side under control.
Hi.
Oh, hi.
You guys just moved in?
Yeah, we just moved in.
Nice to meet you. I'm Linda.
Paul.
But it's a losing battle.
Well, I'll see you tonight, honey.
Okay, all right.
Bye.
Have a good day.
Rolls fixates on his neighbor, 20-year-old Linda Fida.
All right, well, I'll see you around.
Okay.
Bye.
He learns her habits, like when she's home alone.
After she was dead, he took a knife from the kitchen and stabbed her multiple times in the breast. And then he carried her into her own bathroom and drowned her in her own bathtub.
At the crime scene, investigators find 2 used Band-Aids with toe prints on them. When they canvass the apartment building, Paul Rolls answers his door wearing sandals and fresh Band-Aids on his toes.
And they linked him to the crime scene through a toe print.
Paul Rolls caves as soon as he's confronted. He's convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life. Should be the end of the road for this monster.
Everyone thinks it's crazy.
We're not crazy.
And we'll live the rest of our lives together.
You have no idea how much I wish that.
But this dark Prince Charming works some magic and seduces a prison volunteer.
She was an accountant at the prison. He promised to marry her when he got out of prison. And she did solicit the parole board for his release, promised that she would help find him a job and keep him out of trouble.
After serving just 13 years, this vicious monster is a free man. He marries the girlfriend who helped spring him. And that's when Alan sees a connection no one has before. In 1985, the ex-con and the ex-volunteer moved to Gainesville.
The time that Tiffany disappeared, he was actually helping construct an apartment complex that was on Tiffany Sessions' walk every day. First thing I wanted to do was try to interview Paul Rolls myself.
So Kevin Allen takes a 5-hour road trip to the Miami prison where Rolls is doing time. He's got only one thing on his mind: bringing Tiffany home once and for all.
Like most homicide detectives, we think we can convince anyone to tell us what happened.
But when Allen gets to the lockup, Rolls is in the prison hospital. It looks like he's come for nothing. The inmate lies in a coma, his body almost devoured by lung cancer.
Paul? I was kind of hoping he'd wake up, so I was kind of standing over him, calling his name very loudly. The nurse actually came by and said, he's probably never going to wake up.
Hours go by. Allen finally calls it a night, but doesn't give up trying to get at the truth.
My hope was that if he did wake up and had a couple moments of consciousness before he died, that he'd see the picture of Tiffany Sessions. His conscience would get the better of him and he'd say, yes, I did it and this is where she is.
But those answers never come.
Short outfit for college.
24 years and 4 days after Tiffany Sessions vanished without a trace, the #1 suspect, Paul Rolls, dies in his sleep. The chances of tying him to Tiffany's death now are slim to none.
Kevin had sent me an email and said, Paul Rolls has died. And I remember immediately a visceral reaction to that. And I sent back, crap, crap, crap! Get the belongings out of his cell. This is our last chance.
Detective Allen comes back to Gainesville with everything Rolls left behind. It's not much, just a small box filled with a squirrely collection of random things.
He was a real OCD type person. He was very detail-oriented. So his personal records are just full of memoirs, letters, and journals. One of the first things I saw was a little address book.
Inside, page after page filled with details about Rolls's victims. There are names, dates, and phone numbers. There's also a drawing of a Florida license plate with "1 Linda" on it. Looks like Rolls was paying tribute to his first victim, Linda Fida. They find several references to Foster and a mention of the teenager he abducted and raped. But that's not what stops Allen dead in his tracks.
2989.
There was the date, 2989, with a number 2. And if there was any date that was permanently etched in my memory, it was February the 9th, 1989. That was the date that Tiffany Sessions was abducted. And the number 2, I knew from researching Paul Rolls, chronologically, Linda Fido was his first victim. Tiffany Sessions would have been his second victim.
We got him. Hey, let me look at that.
There it is, in black and white. The closest thing to a confession Alan will ever get from a dead man.
I know that Paul Rolls was a stalker and a planner. I believe that Paul Rolls saw Tiffany Sessions when she was on her nightly walk, when he was working, putting up the scaffolding on her route that she took every day. I think Paul Rolls knew that she sometimes walked by herself, so I think he just waited, like he waited for his first victim, until there was an opportunity to take her in a secluded area when there were no witnesses.
If you had asked me a year and a half ago, do you think you're going to ever find out what happened? I'd have probably told you I was going to keep trying, but the truth is, I thought we were pretty much done. And I was wrong, and thank God I was.
Finally, we have an answer of who did it. He's going to pay a price for what he's done, and I don't want to be anywhere close by when he's knocking at the pearly gates. I'm just sorry that we weren't able to get more information from him before he passed away.
But when Rolls died, he took the secret of where Tiffany is with him.
Okay,
I just put myself in the parents' place, you know, having a 20-year-old college student going away to college, and you get a call one day and she didn't come home, and then 25 years later, she's still not home.